It is the Riot Podcast, and we're just so glad that in all the options that you have for podcasting, today you've decided to fly with us.
Actually, we do really deeply appreciate you always listening to the podcast and enjoying it, so hopefully you enjoy today's.
Yeah, today we got something of a Groundhog Day recap. We talk Space Force, shaving, Jeff Bezos.
That was an interesting one.
Yes, koala animal sanctuaries.
That was a cute one.
Super Bowls. Vacations and insurrections.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken wing supplies.
That's a worrisome one.
NASA food challenges. And industries that are doing well during the pandemic.
Yeah, that is, because I think it would be interesting to see a list of like companies to kind of compare and contrast the ones that are not doing well, which seems like there's a lot more.
Yes.
And then the big ones, which are always the machines and the big companies that were huge to begin with that are just doing so well during the pandemic. It'd be interesting to see that actually as a list.
Also want to remind you guys that if you're interested, Nikki and I will be hosting an online seminar. It's only $199, and you will be able to download it after. It's called How to Succeed During a Pandemic.
I don't think we'll be doing that. But we're here to help you while we all try to figure it out anyways.
And one of the things that Nikki and I have learned is one of the best ways to survive during a pandemic is to sell people on the idea of surviving during a pandemic.
I thought you were just going to say is to eat, but that works too.
That works too. We'll put that on the list. So,
thank you guys for listening today.
Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you in a second.
Have a good one.
Bye.
It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
You know, Nikki, companies make a lot of money on phones.
Mm-hmm.
They do. And you're like, yes, phones are expensive.
Yes. Don't we all know that?
That's not what I mean. So the last few days, man, like, oh my gosh, I've been really sick, but I only get sick at night. So that's great.
Good. Okay.
So it's like right when it's time to go to bed, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't feel good. And
when your body's supposed to be resting and healing itself.
It's wonderful. So I've been missing out on a whole lot of sleep, which again,
it is what it is. It is.
Come on, right? And so as I was laying there passing the time with my phone last night, I bought the Mystery Science Theater 3000 Gamera collection on DVD, and I was very excited about it and all this stuff. And then it just occurred to me, if you remove this device,
the phone,
from this circumstances, you are $40 richer. Probably sleeping, maybe not, and you have more money. But I'm sick, you're probably not thinking well, you're tired, and you're at the store. A specialty store that sells exactly the kinds of things that you like.
That physically you'd never be able to get to.
You could never get there. At 2 a.m., you can't get to the store. I'm sick. I don't feel good. I'm so glad I'm at the Shout Factory store. You can't get there.
Well, I mean, it helps pass the time. Let's just say we're thankful for that, right?
It is the phone. It's not just that it's great for, helping me keep track of things and checking my email. It is also a portal to just throwing money away.
It's just wasting time in that. You bought DVDs?
It's the only way it's available, and it's because the original Mystery Science Theater stuff, it's so old.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming from tape. So, I mean, like, they could put it on any format they wanted, but there's a ceiling to the quality.
Oh, it just so they don't even do anything more with it?
The Gamera stuff has been out of print for years because of a rights dispute. But late last year, it came back into print. And
late last night, you bought it.
I sure did.
There you go.
I sure did. And
maybe there's a setting on our phones where, like, after 11 p.m., it automatically won't let you do anything.
It's just like, I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
Oh, did you want to buy something? We have to wait till tomorrow morning.
You have to wait until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Not 6 a.m.
Actually, let's just go ahead and say noon.
Noon. You have to wait until noon.
Once the riot's over, then you are fine to go ahead and buy whatever you want.
The flip side to it is I'm super excited about it. It's going to take forever to get here, but I can't wait to see it.
Where's it coming from?
Just them. They sent the first thing I got from them was an email where they were just like, just to let you know, because of COVID, it takes us forever to ship it. And then when it finally ships, a lot of times it gets delayed. And
they just want to make sure everything's covered.
Yeah.
I thought they would email you and be like, just to make sure you're sure that you actually wanted to buy this. No one else has.
No, other people have. I saw them on Reddit.
Is it a lot? Or are we talking just a small Reddit group?
It's hard to know.
They're just louder, so it feels like more.
It's hard to know. But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. This is fine.
We've got an archive of everything stupid the Riot has ever said at your fingertips. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
So I want to say hey to PR, a podcast listener in Massachusetts. He says that he has never grown a beard until November, this past November.
Yeah.
And now it's his COVID beard.
So he still has it?
Says it took him a month to adjust to how it felt on his face.
He was listening to our podcast yesterday. We were talking about Obi's beard, and it's still there. You haven't shaved it yet.
Still have it.
Don't shave it.
I think I might hang on to it for a while. The other thing
you should.
That occurred to me is one of the reasons why I haven't shaved it is because my shave mirror, which I have in the shower, fell off, and I just haven't put it back up yet.
Oh, it's not even like it broke. It's just still fine. You just have to.
Yeah.
Oh, Obi, you just have to pick it up, do ya?
You
don't understand. It's fine.
I'm telling you, I'm not.
Sometimes it's the little things that trip us up. It's fine.
I just can't. And so I saw it last night. I was like, you should put it back up. And here's why I didn't put it back up. And I was like, well, I don't want to shave. So maybe if I don't put it back up,
you're not going to.
I won't shave. And so,
it's like 3 days from being optimal. Like, I can tell it still needs to fill in.
It's almost there.
It's almost there, and you've never gone that long, but it looks really good.
I know. That's actually what you just said is what is keeping me going, because I'm like, bro,
you're almost there.
You are on mile 22 of the marathon.
That's the perfect way to put it.
You're so close to it. And yes, this is the hardest part, but you just have to keep going.
It might be uncomfortable, and you're just not used to having the beard so grown in, but you're so close.
It is driving me a little crazy, but it's also not.
Does it stop itching when it just grows in enough, or is it just because you're not used to it? Or does it even itch?
I don't know. It doesn't itch. It kind of hurts. It hurts is like, no, it's not like that. But it's like this, you get annoying sensations from it. Like at my neckline, for example, in my shirts, where it's like, that doesn't feel right. It makes me not want to do anything where I would sweat.
Because I'm you haven't worked out with a beard.
No, like that. I don't like the idea of that. Like, there are things about it that I'm like, the other thing apparently and I know we're not supposed to, I feel like I really like to touch my face, apparently.
Scratch, a lot.
Yeah, like I like to touch my face, and I have certain sensory proclivities. It's fine.
But maybe it's better now that you'll have something, or like as it grows out, it'll be softer.
I don't know. I actually like the rough feeling of my face. I don't know. I probably have a thing.
Well, don't do anything then. Keep going.
I know. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait.
See how long you can last until, like, I don't know. If any of you guys have long beards, was there like a point where it magically didn't bug you and it was just there?
Well, I mean, it seems like PR is saying the 1 month mark for him.
That's it, yeah.
So, and I'm at...
It's always 30 days.
I think for everything. Everything's 30 days. Just got to make it 30 days.
Get on something, get off something. 30 days.
30 days.
Get the beard to grow in 30 days.
I think I'm probably at like the 8 or 9 day mark, which may be the farthest I've ever gone.
Keep going.
All right.
You're going to do it.
I'm still I'm still working the system. Like, I'm still trying to make it happen. So Zach says he grows a beard in the winter, helps keep my face warm and my skin from drying out. Oh, see, I thought it would be the other way around. I thought, like, not that it would keep my face cold, obviously, but that it would make my skin more dry if I had a beard.
Maybe not, because it's all fuzzy. It's fuzzy and fine. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe. Tim says, yes, the itch will go away.
Almost there.
Almost there. All right. Well, let's keep it up, everybody.
What a race Obi's running.
It's an endurance race.
It is.
It's not a sprint.
Like, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And he's on his way during the marathon.
Yeah. I also feel like it helps hide my double chin. I like that. That's good.
I think it looks great. So keep going.
All right. We can do it.
Stay strong, Obi.
We can do it.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
There's this transition of power in the United States. That's not a shocking statement. And this happens every few years, you know. What do we always do? You end up with a president that gets a a Congress that is also their party. They can get a lot done. But then in 2 years, we'll immediately reverse that because we're not happy that they're making anything progress.
Sure.
We don't like that.
This is what happens.
We want to frustrate them so we can. So we change out Congress, then we change out the president, then we change out the president, then we change out Congress.
It's a cycle.
It just goes on and on. Like on and on and on. But one of the weirdest things I think Trump did was creating Space Force.
Yeah.
Because like he was just like, yeah, let's make a new branch of the military. And I'm like, you can do that? You just make one?
And Obi's all into space, so it's the perfect one.
It was. I'm not a huge fan of the name. It's too
that's because
easy to parody.
It is. And there's
It's
other
too
things
on the nose.
that, have the name too that are not. Like they're wasn't it the Netflix show, isn't that Space Force? Like this.
Yeah, but that was made to make fun of.
It was. There's always a bunch of things where the name is not sacred to
true.
just the branch.
But yesterday during a press briefing, the White House press secretary was asked a question, and she goes, wow, Space Force it's the plane of today. It's an interesting question. I'm happy to check with our Space Force point of contact. I'm not sure who it is. I'll find out and see if we have any update on that.
Uh-oh. People were mad. Space Force fans were mad.
Well, to me, okay, like let's take the politics, the party stuff, whatever off the table.
Yeah.
The idea that we've got a branch of the military that they're just like kind of making fun of. Now, listen, as a private citizen, I make fun of a branch of the military.
That's different.
My dad punishes me, but I go on because once a Marine, always a Marine. My dad will remind you. That being said, like when the press secretary starts making fun of one of the branches, you're like, oh, that kind of hurts. And then I started thinking like, okay, so does one president, can they start a branch? And then another president's like, cut the branch off.
They talked about it, and I don't think he plans on it or can or is. But is that a possibility?
I don't know. What if he's just like, we're going to rename it?
Because everybody was asking.
We're going to call it the Force. No,
you can't do that. There's a bigger copyright problem on that one.
What? It's no big deal. It's fine.
They won't let you.
So we'll call it Star.
There's nothing else.
There's nothing.
There's nothing else.
All the second words are taken.
You might not like Star, that the original for Space Force, but there's nothing else.
What about Space Trek?
No, there's also no room to grow with that one.
All right, whatever. But it just made me wonder. I was like, oh, are we going to end up, because we keep like, president starts something, next president stops it. President starts next time. We're going to start doing that with the military. They're like, we started Space Force, now we shut it down. We started Ocean Force. We had to shut that down.
Oh, that sounds fun.
What about Sky Force? Had to shut it down.
No, I think we're adding too many then.
Okay, all right.
But, yeah, they're not supposed to, but people were upset about the dismissiveness of it yesterday.
I watched the clip and I was like, oh gosh. Oh, how's that work? Can somebody explain it to me?
Even if you don't like it, you're supposed to, in that position, still hold it back a little bit and be a little bit more respectful to those.
I guess. I don't know. It just made me wonder, like, hey, what are we doing? I got some ideas I got some ideas for cool forces we could start. If you're going to shut one down, you know what? One door closes, you open a window.
Not in space.
You're right.
You better not do that.
Or on ocean or under ocean. You don't open that? Okay.
Nope, the window is staying closed.
There are some people that shouldn't have their own podcast. And by some people, we mean these people. Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
Yesterday was Groundhog Day, and depending on which groundhog you talk to, we either have 6 weeks of winter or an early spring coming.
Do we get some conflicting groundhog things? Because there's local ones, which not everybody might realize.
Yeah. I mean...
Do you listen to the local hog?
Thing is, like, do they have the experience?
True.
But sometimes it's like, who needs the celebrity weather forecaster? I want the guy that's been at it for a while.
Local sometimes is better for your area. Maybe it means your area might have more, or yours might not be the same.
I'll tell you this, in our area, when it comes to weather forecasting, you guys don't know this, but I love watching local weather forecasts. There's a guy, I'm not going to say his name, who I think is actually the best of the bunch, but he's probably the least attractive. He's not he's very smart, but it's one of those things where, like, he's so smart, He's not always clearly communicating, whatever.
But he's in it for the weather, for the love of weather.
That's right.
So for Groundhog Day.
Some of these beautiful people with great personalities that bring you the weather.
They're just hired to be pretty.
So it's hard to know which one of these groundhogs is the pretty boy.
And which one's the real
Which
real
one
deal?
knows? So Poxitani Phil said 6 more weeks of winter. Buckeye Chuck
So some of the other local ones, though, said
early spring.
well, why don't we meet in the middle? Little late, little early.
I don't know. I do have I love the fact that there is no way that we in this country can do anything without there being a controversy around it. So, Nikki, in a couple of minutes, if you want to talk, I have a Groundhog Day controversy.
A scandal from yesterday? Is it big?
Man, I mean, bigger than a groundhog.
How big is a groundhog? Is it like a raccoon or like a...
You know what? If you could not ask, that'd be great.
Okay, I also don't want to Google it. I don't want the boss to be like, well, actually, it makes sense because of Groundhog Day.
How big can a groundhog get? Here we go.
How big do you think? Is it like one of those big bunnies?
People also search for marmot, beaver, muskrat, hedgehog, and raccoon. Let's see. Boy, you just can't get an answer, can you?
Well, it wants to make sure you are asking it the right way.
Here, Nikki, how about this? About yay long.
Well, that's not a...
They say the average groundhog is 20 inches long, 16 to 20 inches.
How many pounds?
5 to 10 pounds.
5 to 10 pounds? Oh, I thought it'd be bigger than that.
You're not getting a lot of meat off of that.
Oh, I hope you don't eat groundhogs. Do we eat groundhogs? I mean, maybe back in the day, but no, we don't need to eat them now.
You can eat it all.
You can eat it all.
Doesn't mean you should, but you can.
Really doesn't mean you should.
You're listening to The Riot. Let's all work together today to live life with the patience of a Nikki dealing with an Obadiah.
Gotta hang in there and get through it.
You're listening to The Riot.
So, Nikki, my question this morning, okay. Like I deal with winter depression. I've had a sinus infection. I've also had COVID. And I don't know.
You've had it all.
I just check all the boxes, right? So, would I have, back in the day, I don't know, would we have been farmers, something, I don't know. Would we have just slept longer? Meaning okay, I'm not sleeping really great because of winter or whatever, but since Ob was sick, he's just slept a lot longer, and then he got up and he
got better that way?
Performed his duties and whatever, and then he went back to bed. Yeah, sure, the cows didn't get milked as early as they're used to, but it still happened, et cetera, et cetera.
So you're talking back in the day, or if we were just farmers now?
Let's say back in the day.
Back in the day.
Okay, here's my real thought is before the clock.
Yeah.
Because if
we
you think
gone
about
to bed
it,
very early in the day.
the clock is this massive unifying force. This is just one of those weird things I think about all the time. You just think about how amazing it is. Forget about your phone. Forget about, the internet, whatever. Just think about what a massive unifying force the clock is. The fact that we're all running on the same time. So, would I have just been Nikki, I can't. We'll start the show at 10. I got to get my sleep and I got to get whatever, but we'll be up and the riot starts at sunup.
I think we would have probably been sick from other things back in the day.
You think so?
And I don't know if sleeping would have fixed it. Whereas now with modern medicine, you're saying we would take something and then sleep more and feel better. Back then, it would just be, he never made it. It was something very simple.
Wouldn't have lived this long.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I just wonder, I was thinking last night, just a terrible time sleeping until probably midnight-ish, and then finally did get to sleep. And so, would I have been sleeping till the sun was up, which, is still 10 hours from now?
I don't know. I think with farmers and stuff, even back then, they had to get up no matter what.
Yeah, but how would they know when they're getting up?
Because that's how we see it in the movies.
Right. And the movies are always true.
Well, that's what we have to go by. It was always you had to get out and take care of the animals and the farm.
Okay.
And there was always that montage where, you're out farming stuff. Yeah. And you're sick, but you couldn't stop.
Yeah. But no, if they're sick and they can't stop, that leads to like they're about to die and their family's like, you've got to stop. And they're like, I can't stop. I got to keep working.
Got to keep the farm.
So who's going to take over the farm?
Listen,
you left us.
We know we wouldn't have made it back then. All right.
It
wasn't a mistake that we're here at this time. And you're like, oh, you would have adapted. You would have been fine. You wouldn't have known any difference. Doesn't matter. We just wouldn't have done well.
You're soft.
Yes.
And the world is hard.
Yes. And we're talking like, yeah, but could you sleep through most of the hardness?
Yeah, you sleep through it.
But you have to still do the jobs back then.
That's why you end up with stuff where they're like, yeah, early bird gets the worm, your family starves. And then, your kids grow up and they're like, we didn't have anything when I was a kid because my dad was always sleeping. I went to bed hungry so many nights because my dad wouldn't get up and
the
work.
The animals even left us. They didn't want to stay. No one was taking care of them.
So other people came, and then we just lived on dirt.
I don't know about all that.
All right,
but I think what we're leaving you with is sure, get some more sleep if you could.
But I can't.
But if you could get more sleep.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, why don't you try I don't know, 5:30 today. Just lay down and see what happens and just shut the blinds, close everything, pretend. And just see if you can sleep the whole way through.
Okay.
Make it a game.
Sounds like fun.
That's what they always tell you when you don't want to do something, but you need to.
What if you had a chart with stars?
Oh, maybe you can get a little toy.
You can get a
sleep
star,
the whole night.
And then if you do it and you get enough stars, then, you get to go and get something out of the box.
The Riot has now been downloaded. I hope you installed some antivirus. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Here's what I want us to do, Nikki. I want you and I to say a heartwarming goodbye to our outgoing president and CEO, Mr. Jeff Bezos.
I was surprised about that yesterday.
He's stepping down. Now, they say they have a successor lined up.
It's the other guy.
You mean me?
No, not you. It's
so
the web guy. The guy who brought Amazon into a web thing. It's the other guy.
No, should be us.
It's not us.
We could be, all right, look, so they
free
make
shipping
us...
for everybody. No more Prime. No nothing.
I feel like you and I could be killer presidents.
Of Amazon or just of a small country? What do you think?
All right. What's Jeff Bezos doing? Before he resigned, of course. What's his day-to-day? It's like get up, personal trainer makes you work out. Personal chef makes your food. Driver takes you to place. You go in, answer some questions, whatever. Then you go off for a mid-morning swim in your money. Then you go, is that how you think it is? We can do all of that.
I was surprised yesterday, and this is the negative Nikki side of me. I thought, what else has someone found out? I automatically thought he was having to leave for some reason that we'll never know about.
It's kind of like when a successful football coach suddenly resigns, and you're like, I don't understand why. And then 2 months later, they're under investigation.
Yep, there it is. It just felt like that, even though that they're not saying anything.
So I had a similar thought where it's like,
he says he just wants to have more time to devote to his charity side of things and the other companies that he runs. He even said the Washington Post. And when he said that, I was like, the paper?
Wow.
We're moving from that to that.
The paper is a nonprofit, but not for reasons we intended.
That's another reason.
He's setting out to fix it. He says he's out, which, whatever. But, man, what a different world that guy's going to occupy. So, he's no longer in charge of Amazon, but he has he can literally do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He can even go, there are countries he could go to where he would never be prosecuted for anything. He could live like an emperor of old if he wanted to.
He says he's not retiring. He just wants to focus on his day one fund, the Bezos Earth Fund, Blue Origin, the Washington Post, and his passions.
All right, Nikki, here's the question. You right now have the option to not retire. You're not quitting life, but you're given as much money as you want for your pursuits.
Yeah. What
are you doing?
Well, if I had some charities, I would definitely work on that because that would be a passion project you can actually afford to do.
Hey,
we have a lot of, this RadioU
is for a charity.
I know. We would never fundraise again. We'd be taken care of forever.
True.
But yeah, I would make sure to probably spend time that way. I wouldn't mind some time off and see how that goes. So
yeah, just like a month or year to recharge.
I'm afraid if I did,
you'd never come back.
I would never come back to a work-like schedule ever again. But when you have that much money, you don't need to.
See, I think what I would do is I would go in and be like, hey, here's the deal, RadioU. No fundraisers again ever, but the Riot becomes an afternoon show.
That's the deal?
What do you think?
Well, I also want to maybe make like a Riot animal sanctuary. It'd be fun and things along those lines. That I could run from my island.
I don't know what I would do.
Something to think about.
No, it's not.
Because it'll never happen.
Yeah.
It's not worth thinking about.
I'm like, I'd pay off my car.
Yay! Look at that.
It's Jeff Bezos is like,
which car?
Still haven't paid off all these cars. Just kidding.
So I think his name is Andy Jassy, is the current CEO of Amazon Web Services, and he will replace him.
Well, congratulations to both of them. Now Tim can go off with his new wife
Jeff, you mean?
Or girlfriend. Jeff can go off with his new wife or girlfriend or whatever and be charity. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. Have a good time.
But I don't think he's already been replaced. So someone just moved right on up into the position because this was the guy right behind.
That's election fraud. That's what that is.
We weren't even counted?
We weren't even given the opportunity to put our names in the thing. Like, that is fraud for sure. I'm calling...
You're going to fight that?
Somebody.
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on RadioU.
Oh, Nikki, I found our first contestant for our animal sanctuary.
Ooh, we can help some animal out.
Clarence. He's a blind koala.
Oh, now that tugs at your hurts, doesn't it? What can we do? Get it happening now. He can live in here. We've got space in here.
He lives at a koala sanctuary, which is a thing.
Oh, absolutely.
In Sydney, Australia?
Yeah. Well, what's the part you don't understand about or you seem curious about?
You know what, Nikki? Here's the problem, is that I'm not... Okay,
you're not an animal person.
I'm not a mean person.
But you're not an animal person.
Let's hang on that for a while. Am I mean?
No, but you're not an animal person, so you don't have the same, compassion's a harder word, because you would be compassionate, I think, if one was here and injured. But you're just not like me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what can we do? Please, I would love it. But that's not your thing.
Yeah, it's a weird mix because my thing is like, if you presented me with that koala, I'd be like, all right, bro, I'll take care of you. Come on, here, I'll have a little something to eat, whatever. I'd take care of him. But I
like to hear the story about the blind koala and what we can do.
And how I learned that it was really me who was blind.
Oh, my gosh. We're learning something I couldn't see.
And that koala taught me how to see.
Oh, my gosh. It's true. It's true.
And I look at the blind.
Because of the hate. Somewhere they always say it's hate. I'm not sure what I'm hating, but there's hate.
But I look at that blind koala and I'm just like, horse breaks its legs. There's nothing you can do.
Oh, you're just saying that to be mean. You are.
No,
you are saying that.
I think that way.
No.
I'm not saying it's right.
Do you really?
That's my thought. Is they're like, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping this blind koala. And I'm like, what about the people? There are blind people that need your help. I don't see the koala giving back, and that's when you tell your story. See, that's what. But no, Nikki, that's when you tell your story about how the blind koala helped you see.
Yeah,
and then by the time the story is over, I'm working at the animal sanctuary.
Then you're helping.
Okay.
So what are they saying? Did they find one or
no?
what?
It's just a story about Clarence, the blind koala who lives at the sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Can you send me the story so I can see him?
It's an iconic Australian animal recognized the world over and a national treasure, which we will do everything we can to protect for future generations. Mm-hmm. So, koalas...
Not in a mean way, but they'll protect you, or they'll protect the koala better than... It lives better than you do. And they'll do their best to make sure.
Well, yeah, Nikki, because humans aren't endangered. But koalas will be if we don't do something now.
Well,
and so,
you know what? It's a very cute story.
Stupid humans. You know what? You guys, you're just like...
Figure it out yourself.
Whatever.
Well, the koala can't figure it out. It needs help.
Then survival of the fittest, man. Too bad.
He's so cute looking. Oh, he's grinning. Oh, it's so cute. Okay. Well, let's do what we can. Can we send money? Can we send something?
You know, Nikki, you should.
To the sanctuary.
Send some Australian dollars.
Koalas, here's the part that I land on. Koalas are not bears. Despite being known as such, koalas are not bears.
And Nikki's just like, they're not bears? Kill them all.
Forget it then.
Let them starve. I don't care.
They are marsupials, which means that they're young or born.
They have a little pouch.
Well, this is mean, which means that they're young or born immature, and they develop further in the safety of a pouch.
Well, that's...
No, it's just the immature thing.
Human babies are the same way.
Koala bear is still a common term, though, because of their bear-like appearance.
Man, you know what? It's all a lie. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to dedicate my life to going around and making sure that people who say koala bear get corrected.
I'm moving on to another animal then.
See, Nikki, no, there's room
Bring
for
me the panda bears that were sliding in the snow. I'll support that.
You know, pandas aren't really bears. See?
Don't spread that stuff, okay?
Someone has to work at the sanctuary to take the joy out of it. That's me.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Super Bowl this weekend. Can't wait.
I was very curious going into it how many people could actually go to the Super Bowl, like physically be inside the stadium for the game on Sunday.
It's usually one at a time.
Well, how many people can stay in there at the same time and space them out to meet COVID requirements? And
oh, you mean the game?
Yeah, the game. So in Tampa, the stadium has a maximum capacity of 75,000 fans.
Okay.
And for the Super Bowl, it has been announced that 25,000 fans will be allowed to be in the stadium, and they will have 30,000 cutouts in the stands to mix in between everybody.
Man, think about how annoying it is to go to a football game. Like, for example, I love Ohio State, but when the last time I went to a football game, like live in person in the stadium, it was one of those things where the seating is basically parceled out that as long as your butt is approximately 5 inches wide, you're going to have plenty of room. Otherwise, like it's just very uncomfortable. Now, finally, you're finally going to be able to sit on the average American stance.
And be comfortable. But you know, the second that this gets figured out with having full capacity back again, then you'll be going back to not fitting into any of the spaces.
Right. But this is your chance to be comfortable.
This game, they say, will be one of the largest outdoor events held in the United States since the start of COVID. They will be spacing people out like you think, but instead of it just being empty, like when you watch other NFL games, it will be filled with the cardboard cutouts.
25,000 people.
So 25,000 plus the 30,000 cutouts, they count too.
Hey, they're people.
They're people too. Every other for NFL teams and games, they've gone by their local, like state requirements for COVID and for how many people could be in stands. Florida does not have any attendance limits right now for sporting events, but they wanted to make sure they could still do social distancing, mask wearing, all the normal stuff.
Well, you know what? I think it sounds wonderful.
So that's how many people will be there on Sunday.
I mean, the good news is I normally get one of the suites up top anyway. So
you don't have to follow any of the rules there, I bet.
That's fine.
I'm actually more curious now that that's been answered. Well, then how will they handle like tailgating and parties outside of the stadium? Will they have a lot of people watching to make sure are there any rules with that? Or again, it's in Florida. It's different.
You know what would be not okay? It's not funny because I realize we're talking about a public health menace, but you know, we got through Christmas without like the post-holiday spike.
Yeah.
We didn't necessarily have a huge post-Thanksgiving spike like there was a little one. But after the Super Bowl, that's the thing that Americans can't say no to. And that's where your spike is.
Hopefully not, but I do see what you're saying.
Right. I don't think that's actually going to happen. But
my question was more like for a lot of stadiums, they have to follow the rules if you're on their property. So would they allow any tailgating or anything like that?
Do people tailgate at the Super Bowl anyway?
I don't know. Or if you didn't get a ticket, tough, you have to be right outside the lines. I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but I do know this, Nikki, that the Super Bowl is this Sunday. 25,000 people can be there. and I will not be one of those people.
But will you watch from home?
Yeah, probably. I mean, what else is there? I'm going to be playing PlayStation and have that on another TV.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Listen, sometimes after a little insurrection, what you need is a break. And I get that because I haven't led any kind of revolution, small or large, but I can identify with doing the smallest, slightest thing and then immediately needing a break after.
Needing a break to recover from it.
Like, man, I went to the break room and now I'm tired. I need a break from the break room. Like,
That's a deep statement.
I didn't go all the way to Washington, D.C. and walk around the Capitol and all that. I didn't do any of that. But, of course, Jenny Cudd did, Nikki. She went to the Capitol, and right now she's not, as I understand it, she's not in jail, but she is awaiting a court date in which she is going to, I don't know, what all is she facing? A couple of things.
Well, what did she do?
Well, she stormed the Capitol.
Oh, she's one of the people taken in for that.
Yeah, and so she's just like, she's got 2 misdemeanors that are connected. She says that she did not vandalize anything. She just walked through.
Oh, I see.
Which I actually wondered about that. If you were there and that was going on and you were like, this is crazy, but you were like, I don't know, I'm going in. This is weird.
Fall in the crowd.
Yeah, you just kind of go, yeah, no. But I mean, you know how Nikki and I would handle it. We were just at home.
Yeah, well, no, you would have been like the other people that showed up for the photo opportunity in the beginning, didn't do any storming or anything like that, just then went home once you showed it on Instagram.
Actually, yeah, that sounds good.
That's pretty much our style for things.
But the reason we're talking about Jenny Cudd this morning is that Nikki, she had, before this whole Capitol thing, she had prepaid for a retreat to Mexico.
Oh, that sounds nice.
For her employees.
Oh, that's fun.
And she's like,
what are we
listen,
doing that the employees get to go?
Listen, we paid for it. It's all can I go to Mexico, please?
Oh, it's a bonding retreat.
Prosecution. Can I go?
Well, are they afraid she's staying there or something?
Yeah, is she a flight risk?
Oh, I don't think so.
So
meaning if you have your flight already, she doesn't seem like the type who would run.
I don't know. Maybe. Nikki,
if I ran for it, they would just figure me out where I would be at eventually.
You guys know Nikki's down at the animal shelter.
No, I'd be at the beach. Just there, at the pool.
So the federal prosecutor has to decide whether or not she can go
she has to have permission to go or not.
Oh, she can't just go.
Oh, you can't leave the country.
That's why this is news. She's not, yeah, exactly. She wants to go. Nikki, when somebody is under federal prosecution and they want to go to Mexico, there's usually a reason.
I know it, but still, she already had it planned.
So what you seem to, when they said a bonding retreat, you're like, oh, yeah, what is that?
Well, I thought like
the bond, hey, we're buddies because we're on a retreat together.
Yeah, you're going as a group of employees, or it's a girl trip. You're going for friends.
Before we get back, we're all going to do a trust fall.
Yeah, you're all going to the spa or something. You're going to the beach.
Okay, all right. Well, she's got that planned. It's coming up in 2 weeks. She really wants to go on this trip. Come on, Your Honor.
Now, where she's going. This is just for our knowledge in case we wanted to come up with our spring break trip. They're offering free COVID testings to try to get us to come down there.
Well, I mean, is it really free? I mean, is it really? It's just included in the price.
It's built into the night of the room?
Yeah.
If you want to spend the night there?
Yeah, it's just something you do.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll just close that now. And we're not going on vacation, so that's fine. We don't need to ask permission because we're not going anywhere.
Who would you want? Why would you want to?
Mm-mm.
So... And, we didn't even, she's really a jet setter. She's from Texas.
She went
flies
to
D.C. Now she's going to fly to whatever.
Some people are out there still doing stuff.
Nikki, we got to get out there and make some things happen.
I don't want to. I still want to lay low.
Hey, okay, that's fine too. I want to go somewhere warm and lay low.
We can have a bonding retreat right here at Radio U.
We're doing it now.
Want to do our nails?
I've been chewing on mine today, so technically I'm doing them.
Technically, that's a nail treatment right there.
You're listening to the worst of the riot. Radio U.
Sure, we all want to go to space. All of us, including Nikki, really want to go to space.
No, thank you. I'll be happy to give up one of my spots so someone else can go there.
But one of the big problems they have in space is that, man, there's just nothing good to eat.
And no one can hear you scream. So.
Can you? About the food?
About the food that you have.
I mean, think about how, all right, let's say it's the weekend and you're like, yeah, I'm totally going to stock up on food before this weekend, whatever. And then on Friday, you get 18 inches of snow. So for 3 days, you're locked in your house with only what you had, like the leftovers. And you're like, this is so terrible. And you start having dreams of cheeseburgers and steaks and a salad if you're that person on Monday. Because you just got to get through those 3 days and get to Monday to get to that thing.
Well, it was nice of you to make it so dramatic of a snowstorm because for most people, or at least for me, you know, like, oh, you have good intentions for what you have food-wise, and then someone yells at you or you had a day or something's happened and you're like, well, I'll just order food. And you just order out. But
and that's
in
your
space, it is what it is. You have what you have, and that's all you've got.
They say that food is a huge part of the morale problem in space.
Oh, to keep people happy? Yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's funny to think that as humans, like, we want something good to eat.
It's our comfort.
It's weird. Like,
and
you would think
you don't have that.
You would think we would be able to be like, I am not moved by something as small as food. I am a space person.
Well, they say that even in space, the biggest issue is you can't have fresh food. You can have like all the manipulated food that you could possibly want, but it's not something fresh.
How about some actual food?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, NASA is hosting the Deep Space Food Challenge, and it's open to anybody. Like, literally, like, right now, you're like, I've never worked as a Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. If you have an idea, then you can put the idea in and try to win money with it.
You can 100% do this. Phase 1 registration lasts all the way through May 28th. And then so what you do is you make your submission between now and the 28th, and then you have to send in your food or whatever by July 30th. So
your idea with it?
Yeah, you register now, and then you've got a window where you're able to kind of present your food. If your food gets chosen, it's one of the top 20 scoring in the United States. You get $25,000.
So the U.S. teams, the top 20, will each get $25,000 each from NASA. And then you go to phase 2. Phase 2, they're not really saying what the actual amount is.
Right.
But they say it's up to $500,000.
That's because they're not sure anyone's going to make it out of phase 1 yet.
Why say if they're not there yet?
Yeah. It's really interesting because you think about, like, when I think about space travel, I'm like, we got to have rockets and transporters and phasers and holodecks. But think about just how important the technology of food really is. The technology of food has gotten so good for a lot of us, at least in the United States, that we don't even think about food anymore.
You didn't know there was some other way before that.
You don't even think about food. Like, it's just something. And I'll tell you what, you take a couple of notches down on the hierarchy of needs, and all of a sudden you think about food a lot.
So that's why they're branching out. They need some people to come up with some ideas. Nate just texted in, like, that's a huge business opportunity, a DoorDash in space. If someone could just make that happen, but, you got to have the fresh food to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have any ideas and you want to try to win some of the money, it is deepspacefoodchallenge.org that you can enter into the contest.
Dude, that would be cool.
It would be neat.
It'd be
exciting if it was like someone super young and just had an idea and it worked.
What if it's like the guy that invented what's that thing that you bought me that I love so much, the AeroPress?
Oh, was that someone?
That dude's pretty old. He's like a retired engineer. He was in his, sorry if you're this old, but he was in his mid-70s. He was retired.
Oh, I didn't know that had a story behind it.
He wanted coffee, and he was like, I'm tired of brewing a whole pot of coffee. My wife doesn't drink it. Thus, the AeroPress
was invented.
So it could be a story like that. So whatever it is, I want to go to lunch.
We'll take some of your winning money and put that towards our lunch meal.
The Riot Radio U.
Now, Nikki, speaking of food and the big game, it's happening this weekend. Did you see what the Washington Post was reporting yesterday?
What were they saying?
About the chicken wing shortage?
They're creating a false shortage now by spreading that
They're short-selling wings, and Reddit is buying up wings everywhere.
No, I remember back at the beginning of the pandemic, I like to make chicken wings, and so I get these things called party wings at Costco, and I remember for a while there, they were harder to find. It wasn't always the same company. They were bringing in different types. They were more expensive. But as far as like I've noticed, wings have still been around, but maybe they just mean in different areas.
It's fascinating to read about this company that one of their jobs is like chicken wings. And they say that back in the day, pre-pandemic, that chicken wings were absolutely like the demand for them was you could chart the sports calendar by chicken wing sales.
So people would go to buy them to make them based on games.
Yes. So whether it was at home or even something like BW3, like a chicken wing restaurant, people would go more and order more wings during sports seasons, especially around large events. They said that all changed with the pandemic, and now people want chicken wings all the time.
I'm making them at home. It's a comfort food.
It's amazing.
Remember, you just take a little Frank's Red Hot and butter, mix that together, cook your wings, spread it over. It's perfect.
Remember when we used to go to the wing buffet?
I know. I love that. But I like wings at home, too, because it's cheaper. It is way cheaper.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I mean, you didn't realize outside of this buffet we had, the buffet worked because you could not eat breakfast and you could really go in strong. But if you would go someplace else and just buy like a basket of wings.
Yeah, they're always, I feel like a ripoff.
When you find out how much wings actually cost, you're fine making them at home.
Yeah, that's a high margin business right there.
It is. You're like, never mind. So I won't go back to eat them out again because I know the price difference. Ever? I will go again to the.
I want to go to the buffet again.
I will go to the buffet.
Day.
Should we go for my birthday? It's on a Friday. Like, should we? No.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Because you can. It's still open. It's just you have to sit with your group separated.
Whatever,
but we can
we're
totally
already
do that.
Doing that.
Yeah, we should go. It'll be smiling.
Somebody just got excited. I was like, man, it's going to be 3 years before I can go for wings again.
We could go in a few weeks.
Oh my gosh,
we could have it.
We totally should do that.
But until then, so they're saying
I don't even see the other people that work here anymore.
So it doesn't matter.
I know that other people work here, so it might be cool if we were all in one place, socially distanced with our masks on, except when eating.
That would be good.
Wow.
All the wings. So are they saying there's a shortage of chicken wings now going into the Super Bowl? Or
yes.
That is what we're dealing with?
Like, it's not that you won't be able to get them, but you're running the risk of going to the store and being like, I'm making my famous wings.
Oh, nothing.
What I need are some dead chickens.
What about the chips? Are the chips fine? Soda? Is soda okay?
Those
tell me about everything else.
Those seem to be okay.
All right, there's no shortage there.
They just say, and again, this is the Washington Post. So what do I know? I'll tell you this, that chicken wing prices are up.
Mm-hmm. And the amount of them are down.
Yep, that's right. Prices up.
You fall somewhere in between.
Best of luck. We need to go for your birthday.
I'm good for it. I'm absolutely up for it.
I just got excited about that.
It was true excitement.
It was real.
It was real.
This is why astronauts need better food in space.
Food makes us happy.
You guys just saw morale improve right there.
Worst of the riot. RadioU.
I don't quite know what to make of this. Part of me is like, yeah. And then there's other part of me that's like, no, there's a hook here. Like, this is not somebody that has my best interests at heart. I just don't know what their game is yet. I'm talking about the CEO of Apple, a man by the name of Tim Cook. I know. You guys have his name tattooed on your body. It's fine.
We know. All you have to do is say Tim, and we know who you're talking about.
Listen, there's a couple Android people out there, so we got to make sure they feel
know
like
Tim Cook. You still know the guy.
So there is. Has the iOS 14 update happened yet?
Yeah, I think that was the other day. Because it just updates overnight.
I don't know.
A lot of times I don't even know when an update happens because it's just automatically set up.
I don't pay really close attention to it.
I think so, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, okay, here's the deal. So Apple says that they have apps now need to get your permission to serve targeted ads. Mm-hmm. And so they've installed something. It's something at the iOS level that's just like, hey, this app is going to basically, it's kind of like the cookies thing where when you go to a website and they're like, will you accept our cookies? Just a heads up, don't. Go down to settings.
I know that goes against everything you thought in your entire life because cookies are good, but these cookies, no.
Go down to settings and you'll find that there are some cookies that you have to accept just to use the internet, but you can disable all of the other ones. And it's a pain and seems stupid, but I do it every time.
So what about the targeted ads?
So what they've done is Tim Cook is basically saying, hey, this update is basically a nutrition label that we're putting on apps so that you know what you're getting when you get it. And he's basically saying, hey, people are being surveilled online while they use apps. They don't know they're doing that, and it needs to stop. And Facebook is the biggest app
one?
that has received that, and Facebook is mad. Something you may not know about Facebook is it's a big ad platform.
Yeah.
It's not there so you can talk to your friends.
It's not
so
like
they can
it's not how great is it free?
It's so they can listen to you talk to your friends so they can sell you ads.
And the best way they can make more money is actually sell you targeted ads so that the advertisers know that it's going to a person who would actually be interested in perhaps something they were advertising.
For example, earlier in the show, I was talking about how I bought some DVDs last night, which I did.
How retro.
Very. I mean, it's practically vinyl, but it's like when vinyl wasn't cool.
So do you get an ad for it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got Google and Facebook ads this morning, and it's like the thing that kills me is I'm like, guys, I already bought it. You don't need to advertise this to me. I have it already.
They just thought you'd be interested in more. But it is true. Targeted ads are the worst because, they're going after you and they take all your other information and they think they know what you'd be interested in. So that makes those companies more money.
Yeah. Tim Cook says that targeted advertising is manipulating people and they don't know it. So my thought is this. Of course, Mark Zuckerberg is upset. Facebook's upset. But what's Tim Cook's angle on this? Is he really out there trying to protect us? Or is his angle, if you buy Apple products, we'll put a stronger barrier between, your privacy and other people? Like, is that the angle? So he's really doing this in order to sell more iPhones? Like, what does he get out of this?
Well, he gets something because he's not doing it just because he cares about our privacy.
Oh, that's
Apple
not true.
stopped caring a long time, but so did every other company. There is no company that has your best interests.
No. Oh man, here we go. Don't think that I'm crazy when I say this. You're kind of going to have to look out for yourself a little bit. Okay,
in the digital world,
I backed it off a little bit. I was going to say it one way. I'm going to say it a little nicer. If you're going to have to be the one that protects your privacy. That's a joke because there's no way to do it, but you can do your best.
I think for some of us too, you're like, too late, long too late.
Oh yeah. I mean, we started selling our privacy early for like $1 off coupon.
When we first got our Gmail email back when we were babies.
It's real. It's real.
The Riot. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it's not good. Wait, isn't that exactly what it means? It's The Riot on Radio U.
Hey, I don't know if you guys heard about this whole pandemic thing. Are you familiar? Apparently it's called COVID-19. And there's all these different strains, and they're working on a vaccine. Well, it's been difficult.
Just because you sound so convincing sometimes, he's teasing. So I just want to throw that out there. What if it was a new listener and they had no idea?
Who is this guy?
And they're like, what is this guy doing?
Change the tape, guys.
I just worry sometimes about that. He's just teasing.
So, Nikki, it has been hard on businesses.
Absolutely.
Some businesses. But see, when crisis hits, for some businesses, crisis is opportunity. And then if you want to come to our airport seminar about how to transform crisis into opportunity, that'll be happening later today.
Are you talking like how Amazon definitely didn't get hurt during the pandemic?
They did better than ever. Video games. I was just looking, like Sony said they just had their best quarter in their video game section, their PlayStation people. It's the best quarter they've ever had. Like they made more money this quarter than they ever have.
Yeah.
So it's been good. But another industry that's doing really well? Cigarettes.
That went up or stayed it didn't go down.
For the first time in more than 20 years, the cigarette industry did not take a step back.
I think because normally throughout the year, I don't smoke, but you still see a lot of the advertisements. You're told a lot to not smoke.
Well, yeah.
But the whole year we were told to wear face masks. We were told so many other things that the don't smoke thing went way down at the bottom of the list and no one was reminded throughout the year.
See, that is one option. I was actually reading different people's takes on this. So some people are saying that, hey.
It wasn't in your face all year like it normally is.
Some people said the reason that it stayed the same is that because people were in your face about masks. And so they were like, well, Can't wear a mask if I'm smoking.
So it was an opportunity to, like when you're eating.
It was like taking a stance.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Screw your mask and I'm smoking.
And you're smoking. And also, I think just with stress, a lot of people.
Yes, and that's the other, is that it's basically was one of those years where people were like, you know what? This year doesn't count.
That's why I ate so much ice cream last year. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I will tell you, honestly, like I gained weight last year for sure. Haven't taken it off. And for the first time in my life, don't even care.
And we didn't have January of people yelling at us to make the resolutions to change because it's still going on.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody was still drinking, eating, smoking, all the stuff.
Yeah. I mean, my whole life, maybe not my whole life, but most of my life, I've been like, all right, we hit a certain point, bro. You got to get a hold of yourself. You got to whatever. And I've just been like, whatever. Go ahead and hand me another one of those little Debbie Christmas trees. I'll take it.
I'll take the whole box, won't I?
I'll take it. My pants still fit. Good enough, whatever.
Well, no, because we weren't even wearing pants with waistbands. We were wearing activewear.
And you know what?
So we didn't have
they still fit.
They do, but they're more generous than if you're wearing jeans, because jeans and dress pants will cause you to pause when you can't button it anymore.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I am literally terrified of seeing if any of my shorts fit next summer. Because, I mean, I'll tell you what the answer is. No.
It's not something. So that is not surprising to see that did not go down when normally each year smoking would go down.
It's just interesting to see that, again, the pandemic, we think of it as bad. Let's be clear, it is. But there are things and places and people where it hasn't been bad for them. And it's weird to think that the pandemic has been good for the tobacco industry. Isn't that weird?
That makes you want to pause right there. And don't do things just out of spite. Don't do that.
What do you mean? Like,
meaning the whole, because they wanted to smoke.
I'm going to smoke out of spite?
Because they didn't want to wear their masks. Don't do that. That only hurts you.
That's fair. But why? No, I'm not going to say it. I'll hold that.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.
All I can think about is narwhal.
Fake!